Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guests are a lovely couple that have a custom paddle making shop located a couple of hours north of us here in Toronto. They're not here in Toronto. We're here in Toronto. They make everything from solid canoe paddles to stand-up paddleboard paddles, kayak paddles, specialty wood paddles, charcuterie board paddles, engraved paddles, you name it. Please welcome Corey and Maria from Haliburton Paddle Shop. Yay,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hello.
Thanks for coming by for a chat. Glad to have you here. This has been a while in the making.
Yeah, no kidding. Probably well over a year.
I actually probably can't. Sorry, Corey, say that again.
Well over a year, probably. Oh, did we lose that?
Yeah, absolutely. We got you again. We welcome to our favorite people living far away from us, and where we're here in Toronto, we're so used to just highway speed internet, whereas that's not the case in where people that live the places I would like to live. So we'll work our way through this. Yeah, I want to say it's definitely over a year. I mean, the first time we met was the Lock and Paddle in Peterborough last summer, 2024, I think.
Yep.
And you took away my favorite paddle and made it be pretty again because it was getting a little beat up. So yeah, and I think we talked about it before that, and then this has been a while in coming around, and we're so glad that you finally had time. Maybe tell us a bit of the story about why you've been so busy. We saw you in a very big shop, and then Thomas and I just went by. Not last weekend before. Was it last weekend? Last weekend. Holy crap. I'm old. Brain doesn't work so well. And we saw you at the new Cozy Shop, which smells fantastic, by the way. Just it's so yummy with all the wood smells. But tell us a bit of how you went from there to now your own place.
Yeah, so up at Haliburton Forest is where I first started with the paddle shop, and learned all the necessary steps and procedures to get a nice finished product. They were looking to move on from having the paddle shop under their wing, so to say, and so we took the initiative and went out and purchased all newer, updated equipment to start our own paddle shop location in Minden. So the skills that I learned over those few years, it was quite nice to be able to see the progression of what I was going through, and I wanted to continue that sort of paddle making tradition and start our own location.
It was funny, we had some friends reach out to us as we're moving on from the forest, and it would have been nice to stay in that location. Again, the shop was already set up. Everyone sort of knew that area. But we, again, with the opportunity of having to move out of that area and sort of take the paddle shop over from Haliburton Forest, and so Corey and I running it, we had a good friend reach out and said, hey, we have this location. The location is amazing. It's on Highway 35. But it's not really a shop. It's more like a smaller house that's been gutted. So it might be a little bit tight, but we think you can make it into whatever you want. And Corey he's way more positive than I am. He sort of looked at the space and he said, you know what, I think we can make this work. Where I was just seeing dollar bill signs and panicking and sort of sweaty and wanted to sage the space, he sort of said, no, I think tightening up the shop might actually be more beneficial. Smaller steps, a better area that's there. So he's actually done a really good job once we purchased the equipment, sort of placing the equipment for what he needs to do in his moving around the area in the shop now.
Yeah, so equipment started to move in, well, basically almost a year ago now. And we had it stored in that little shop for over the winter, and then by it was February we started the renovations to hopefully be open by spring, with all the sort of unforeseen circumstances and little things here with contractors here and there. it definitely took longer. We were close many times, it felt like. We ran into a few obstacles along the way, but throughout the summer, we managed to keep some productivity up and getting product out there to the customers. And yeah, after the full renovation sort of complete, still some small things to figure out, but we were able to open about 3-4 weeks ago now full time, and yeah, enjoying every day so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking at you talking about contractors, looking at your, I don't even know what you want to call it, your power room with all your all that pretty wiring and all the additional equipment and stuff. It's like, holy crap! Never would have occurred to me that you needed that much power until you get inside the shop and you see all these big chunks of equipment and go, yeah, that's going to be hauling a bunch of electricity to do what it needs to do. And I just like, well, it's not, you don't just plug in 220 or two phase or three phase just out of the blue. It doesn't exist in houses and stuff like that. So that would be a whole bunch of work for an electrical contractor, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so gotten through all the sort of trials and tribulations, and yeah, just looking forward to where we're heading. We sort of look ahead, and a year from now, we'll be saying, "Do you remember that a year ago, where we were and what we were dealing with?" And we'll be able to smile and laugh, hopefully, and yeah, carry on.
But I feel like any new business has that learning experience there that happens, right? You think you know what you're getting into, and you're like, oh, we're going to set the budget at this, and then reality steps in and says, here's a new lesson that you have, or here's something you didn't even think about that you'll have to build. And so I think that's part of the adventure that Corey and I have sort of been on, just trying to ride the waves basically as much as we possibly can and put out a good product in the end.
Well, an adventure is always a more positive word to use than some you might choose.
Right.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's not. It's what a pain in the butt to get started up and have to figure all those things out. But I'm glad you're there. Like, I'm glad. I was quite impressed with the previous shop and all the space and the whack of blanks that you had and finished paddles and stuff like that. So now, over the course of the year, you've probably substantially lowered your inventory that you had built up previously. So what are you doing now? Like, I know that Thomas and I, having been there, I've seen a piece of equipment that I think is very cool. And I am thoroughly interested to see, as you spend more time experimenting on it, see what kind of things you can bring out the other end.
You can't have one.
Come on. I want one. I don't care.
If Corey's got one doesn't mean you get to have one.
I can go up and maybe borrow Corey's. You don't know.
I've got lots.
I keep thinking about the resin idea.
Right. Yeah.
I've been thinking about paddles that have resin in the center of it. It's like, oh, what a brilliant idea. That's going to look so cool, man.
Yeah. I think that's one thing.
Custom made, all the things. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I was really impressed with. So we had a lot of orders. The last time when we were at the Hamilton Adventure Expo, which will be again this year, or 2026 will be there. That's when orders started coming in. That's where I think we really sort of were shocked that people are wanting to buy our paddle and see them more and have that custom size to it. And so one thing I was really impressed with is we had orders coming in from April, and they were sitting there, and we would reach out every couple of months to the people who have already placed orders and said, hey, listen, this has come up, or this has come up, we're so sorry. And they're like, no, we'll wait for the paddle because it was custom and it's something that they wanted to wait for. And so the last little while, Corey, we've been trying to get those paddles out, and we have been getting those paddles out to our customers now, which has been fantastic. And now being in a location that is going to be more visible, we'll have some foot traffic coming in, which is amazing. So that will be a different realm to it. I think, again, we will be focusing a lot on the canoe paddle, as our main sort of bread and butter that's there, with some off trickles that are happening. I'll let Corey talk, but I think we might be stepping away just because of the size. So one of the barriers with our shop now is the size of the inside. So swinging a kayak paddle around and
stand-up
yeah,
paddles.
then the stand-up paddle, sort of really making those good quality, might be something that might be a one-off that's there right now just because of the space. But we'll grow with it and we'll maneuver it. We'll definitely build up an inventory again. We have some plans in the future to put a small little store that's there. So if people want to come by and actually just pick up a paddle and sort of move along, we'll have that opportunity. But I think right now, for the time being, we're really focusing in on those made to order custom paddles that are there.
We have customers coming in, walking in basically off the street and ordering a paddle, but a little bit in a rush. But we're able to walk through the process of sizing the paddle up correctly for them, going through all those aspects, and within, say, 4 to 5 days, having that turnaround for them, and they're able to come to pick up their own customized paddle that is just for them. It's not a cookie cutter off the rack.
Yeah. So to be honest, I might have been browsing your website. I wasn't sure what the turnaround was, and I also wasn't sure. It's not that your website doesn't provide it. It was just like, I don't know if I have enough knowledge about what I want to be able to answer that question as I'm going through it. Not that I was going to order paddles or anything, sweetie, because I don't have too much camping gear already. But what, maybe take us through that process of going from somebody goes, I want my own custom paddle. You know, how does that play out? How do they choose the wood? What style of paddle? You know, a beaver tail, otter tail, whatever.
What factors do you take into account? Height or arm length and grip?
And style of paddling, or you know, you've got the solid wood ones. You've also got the ones which I think are so cool. I in my brain, feather is the word that comes to mind, but with the striations off the sides, that looks so cool. How do you laminate those? Tell me all the things, man.
There's a lot there. As far as
yeah, that was a lot of questions.
So that was me asking a question. Now I sit back for 15 minutes and let you go.
So when a customer contacts us, reaches out, right away, we're having usually a good rapport. Hardly anyone reaches out for a paddle and they're in a bad mood. They're usually thinking about their trip coming up and daydreaming about using their new paddle on this trip. So with that in mind, I have a discussion with the customer and go through, the type of water they're paddling. I ask questions about their canoe, how the seats are mounted in the canoe, all the little variables that can really change and affect the end result of the paddle for the customer. And discussing if they're mainly lake paddlers, river paddlers, something in between. The blades are quite specific to the types of use. A lot of what's out there in the outdoor industry is like that. That's why you have 3 different canoes, a dozen paddles. There's a lot of pretty specific scenarios that you can get into with these tools that you're using out there. And so after the discussion, the variables as far as the length of a paddle is concerned, there's so many different things to take into consider. The quick and sort of dirty measurement off your toe, that the grip should be coming up to around, your chin and nose. But there's a paddle style out there that can come up to your shoulder and armpit height. And it just really depends on what your style of paddling is going to be out there. Wood choice, popular-wise, black cherry is by far the most popular wood heading out the door easily, probably 4 to 1. That dark, rich patina that's in that wood grain that just darkens up really nice. And it's really nice to work with as well, as far from a woodworker's standpoint. White ash, personally my favorite type of wood to work with and use out there. has a lot of the same characteristics as black cherry, but can be stiffer. It can be just as light, but performance-wise, it can be a bit stiffer of a tool out there. With more dent resistancy, it can take a bit more of abuse out there. And those are my main two hardwoods I use. I do make a lot of maple as well, but these are considered more of a little bit more brutish of a paddle. The weight and flex are that you can't really fine tune that. It is what it is with a sugar maple type of hardwood. And I've been playing a little bit with specialty woods. We're getting some black walnut in from just north of Peterborough, and yeah, bird's eye maple always popular with the customers out there, and any sort of curly or figured wood as well is quite popular.
So yeah, that was another thought I had about your woods. Would it you try to keep them fairly locally sourced?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's the main goal, keeping it all from small Ontario producers and as local as we can get it. I'm not necessarily grabbing a whole lot of wood from southern Ontario or anywhere out of Ontario. I do have a real nice local supplier here in Minden and another in north of Peterborough. And the one in north of Peterborough has a little home kiln as well, so I'm able to get this wood custom milled up and dried right there on site, and go and pick it up and bring it back within a half a day. And so that's quite nice to have that supplier so close.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Sorry, Maria. I think I caught you saying something. I sorry for interrupting.
No, 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 that's okay. It's a lot of information that sort of goes into there. Like he was saying, first you're picking your wood, and then we're going into the blades, the different blade styles that we have. Corey will walk you through, as you mentioned before, what style of blade are you looking for? What are you mostly paddling? And we'll talk about each blade style that's there to really narrow it down. Some people go just for the look of it, right? And then some people are like, we just need a paddle that's a basic. You know, you can use it for everything that's there. Of course, we steer them towards the beaver tail that way. And if they're doing a lot of lake paddling, then there's the otter tail. We have some modern sort of style of paddle blades that are there too. And then we go on and talk about the different grips. We do sort of put the grips with standardized, you know, the beaver tail will be with this grip and the otter tail will be with this grip. But the cool thing with us, and one thing that I really like, is because between my hand size and Corey hand size, there's a huge difference that's there. And so I like a smaller grip on my paddle. And that's something that I can customize and say, hey, I want an otter tail with a smaller grip, or I want a beaver tail with a larger grip, because there could be, you know, Corey's coming in who's 6'3" and a bigger guy, and he needs something to fill his hand up, basically when he's paddling, and feel that. And so that's something I really like about the difference between, instead of just going into a store and picking something off the rack, I can say, I already know I would like to have this type of paddle and this type of blade. And then we can customize that basically to fit you. And sometimes the sizes are not there. Sometimes, you know, I have a friend and she's 5'4", and it's hard for her to find a paddle to fit that height or something like that. Or we have friends who are taller than Corey, and, you know, now we can make that paddle fit them even more, which I think is cool.
And I'm happy to have that conversation with the customer, and, you know, through emails, phone conversations, we definitely make that happen. Really enjoy the in-person, and that way we're able to truly sort of measure them up right on site, and yeah, just create something truly unique for that user.
I would say even when you're buying a paddle online, if you go onto our website and you order a paddle, we're emailing you and we're saying, hey, thanks for ordering this. Can we do something more? Let's talk to you about what's going on.
Explore the options.
Yeah, explore the options more. So they're making sure that they get the paddles that they want exactly for them.
Yeah, that was definitely a thought that was in my tiny brain when I was looking at the website. Was that, yeah, I put the order in, you need to call me because I'm an idiot and I don't think I know all the things I need to know about what I actually want. You're going to have a way better idea about how to make sure I get the best paddle for me.
Well, sometimes what people want is not necessarily the right thing. So you guys would know better. Like maybe you think you want this, but what you're
That
doing
might
requires
not be
that.
the right. Yeah. So me, the paddle in the back corner here, I paddled that my entire life. That's literally the only paddle I've ever used. So I don't know anything other than that. I would just order something like that because that's the paddle. No, maybe not. Maybe some here. Let's. What do you think about? Because this is actually better for your style of paddling, or at least the type of paddling that you do. This might actually make you be a better paddler and not have to blame the kid all the time for when you're doing crappy strokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that totally resonates and makes sense. That's there. And the same thing. Was given a paddle when I started getting into this, and I was just so honored to have this paddle. And this is really nice. And now, being with Corey and him being the paddle maker, I have several paddles now. Now I'm still a person that will go to the paddle and be like, hey, I feel I want to paddle with this one today and feel what that looks like. I don't feel the change as much, I think. I'm normally just in the front, so I'm doing the power stroke that's there, and just as long as my head's down and I'm paddling, then I feel okay. I'm going in the right direction. I don't very often get into the back of the boat and play that way, but I've noticed there is small little tweaks that can happen. If I'm carrying a heavier paddle and paddling that versus something that's a little bit more finessey that's there. So I'm just starting to learn that a bit more, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, I think that learning, if it ever stops, that's crappy. I think you should always be learning. Just to bounce back for a second. So my paddle is cherry wood, so it's quite stiff. There, I certainly don't notice any flex in it. When when you guys were doing the refinish on it last year for me, or the refurbish, I suppose, refinish because it's so much prettier in the matte color. Just saying, I had it was all glossy before because that's what we did back in the '80s. I got a loaner, and I want to say it was a very light color, almost a white color. It had a more squared blade to it, and it had a boatload of flex. I've never touched a paddle that had flex before. It totally freaked me out, but it was really interesting to see how finesse is probably the right term, because you can do so much more just by a little bit of a tweak of an angle to it, and then it flexes that little bit and then finishes up strong. It was an experience just paddling with that paddle.
I think it was paddle I had on me as we traded paddles off. It was a basswood Voyager style of paddle. So yeah, sort of a traditional square looking blade with a square nose, and very light. Yeah, so that's a soft hardwood, but really nice to work with, but not very rugged or robust. It can take a dent and get banged up quite easily. And yeah, so there are trade-offs. Like with anything, a stiffer paddle will allow for more bite, more get up and go from your initial sort of say standstill. You're going to be able to get a lot of bite with that forward paddle motion. Whereas a flexible paddle will obviously have that give, and initially off the startup, the get-go, you're not going to have that same sort of bite. You're going to have a little bit more, say, pull through the water. But once you're up and moving and in a forward direction, the efficiency, I believe, in a flexible paddle, just skyrockets, and it's just easier on your body too. By the end of the day, the flexibility isn't as jarring to you and to your body as you're paddling through the day. Um, so yeah, they both have their spots and their purposes, and they're the trade-offs that you're willing to give um, for that paddle. That's why you need as many as you can hang on your wall.
I was quite. I remember when you handed it to me, it was like, this can't be a paddle. This weighs nothing. It weighs ounces as opposed to the 5 pounds that my thing weighs or whatever it is. Like,
And how long ago did you make
okay,
that, Tim?
I'll try anything once. Oh man, 40 years ago.
In Scouts, wasn't it?
Maybe more than that. Yeah, Scouts. Well, I was in my mid-teens, probably 14 or 15.
Yeah, a lot of miles on it.
So it's bomb-proof because I have beat the crap out.
Yeah.
It's got some miles on it, man. But that's what I'm saying is, like, looking at the website and listening to you talk about different things, like I don't know anything else. That's literally the only paddle I've ever used. So I have no idea what would be best because that's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah. We like getting paddles into people's hands. Try out the variables. Try out the differences. You're spending a good day with that paddle, the grip in the palm of your hand, and
Christmas
is yeah. So that's why we like to encourage anyone to come and visit us, and we'd be very happy to walk you through the steps. When you have a grip in your hand all day like that, we can get it fitted right to you. If you have smaller hands, like Marie was saying, we just scale it down, or the opportunity to even design something completely unique to you is a possibility. I've definitely designed blades, new blade shapes and grip shapes for customers. One grip was for a good friend where they have a little bit stiffer hands, stiffer knuckles, and it was called a free grip from what I researched in the canoe books and online. And basically it was just a big club at the end of the paddle. Not a big club, but more like a tennis ball size of a club at the end of the paddle for you to grip. It didn't give you any sort of notification on where the blade was oriented, but as long as you were paying attention to how that blade was in the water, normally your grip directly references to where your blade is in the water when you're doing your J stroke, etc. But for this club grip, it was just a nice ball grip for their hands to settle around on.
Interesting.
Good to club the fish too when you're
picture that. So I'd say that again, Corey.
Good to club the fish when you're out fishing. Give it a club over the head to knock it out if you're keeping it for food.
The fish I never catch. Yeah, I hear you. I suck. So can we talk a little bit about your new toy that you're still learning how to use, but what it is and what you hope to do with it?
Sorry, and so new toy. Is this the laser engraver cutter?
The new toy. Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Yeah, so we purchased a really high-end laser engraver and cutter, and to continue further personalizing that paddle for our customers. We've barely scratched the surface of what we can do creatively. And so the options for this is just unending, between sort of a full engraving sleeve tattoo that you can put on the blade. We don't recommend necessarily on the shaft underneath your hand where you're gripping, and same up on the grip. That hand feel just isn't quite nice. But there's lots of space on the blade and the upper shaft to personalize your engraving. And then this engraver is so powerful that it can laser cut as well. And this model will cut up to a 1/2 inch of hardwood material. And like you were saying earlier, the opportunity to customize a simple maple leaf cutout in the blade, fill it with a resin or a red resin, or just to spice up what that creativity can be with the paddle even further. That's a tool there? Yeah. So with the laser cutting and being able to personalize it with that colored resin, we could do glow in the dark as well, which is a super neat option. And we're quite happy with it. And so the company is a Canadian distributor that was super important for us to have access to this company. The company's name is RM Laser, and highly recommend them for their customer service. If anything were to go wrong or haywire with this machine, I wanted a direct line to a customer service where I could get answers and things fixed and back up and running right away. Because the machine is running daily. It's a big part of our operation.
I was paddling this past August. I had 10 friends went out and we paddled the Barron Canyon. And so we had 10 women out there. We all had our paddles. And I would say probably over half of them were Haliburton Paddle Shop paddles that were there. And we were at one end of a portage. All the girls got into their boats. We're paddling back out. And another girl, not in our group, was yelling, "Hey, I think you forgot a paddle." And we're like, "No, I don't think so." She goes, "No, I think you left a paddle." And she goes, "We'll bring it to you." So she paddles out to us, and we weren't too far away. She goes, "Is this your paddle?" And we all held up our paddles that were engraved or had something personal already on it. And we're like, "No, we know for sure it's not our paddles because all of our paddles have been customized or have our initials on it or a picture or something." She's like, "Oh, okay, that's really cool. I'm going to take this paddle back to and put at the portage." So it's just a fun thing. You can say, this is definitely my paddle because, like Corey said, laser engraving, you can do so many different cool things. And it can be as simple as just an initial. We had someone who just wants a little flower on it, or it can definitely be like a whole scene. We started doing wedding paddles, which is a bigger blade, and people are using them for wedding guest books. So we'll design a bigger blade for it. We will engrave, whatever the bride and groom wants on it, their name, the date, and then provide them with a paddle holder, and then all the guests can sign around that paddle and that inscription that's on the paddle. And so it just makes it a little bit more, unique and sort of special.
Yeah, that sounds like a very cool idea. What else did I see? So charcuterie boards. Is that the right way to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think, Corey, when we were there last time, you mentioned something about bow ties.
Right. Yeah. So all the material that I use
What is it?
in cutting and making a solid wood paddle, all the cut-off material gets saved and used in production of smaller items, whether it be that laminate style feather paddle that you were talking about earlier. Really enjoy doing the laminate paddles. They are definitely made to be used. They're rugged and as robust as a solid wood paddle. And there is some sort of special care that you need to take with them, but they're definitely made to be used. And all those cutoffs just keep getting smaller and smaller. So the cutoffs from the laminate paddles, I'll use and create little bow ties from those laminate pieces that are all glued. Hard to throw all that hard work away that it can be used into something smaller. Just trying to keep in line with that sustainability aspect of it. Woodworking creates a lot of sawdust, and so that's always something to be managing. And we've got some people online that are homesteaders that are going to use it for their livestock. We use it in our garden for pathways and in our compost. And so as long as it's all kept clean, there is, sometimes with the resin, when I'm doing a resin tip on a canoe paddle that someone's requested, that little bit of resin can get into the sawdust, but I'll do my best to keep that out and separate, so it's not getting out there if it's getting into the environment. And so it just the
That's
hardwood
awesome.
cut
So you
off.
guys are eco-friendly and sustainability oriented as well.
That's right.
As much as we can be, we try and do that. Yeah, again, as much as we can. We're always trying to learn, and so we're open to that feedback if something's not happening. I'm not sure.
We're located at 1009 County Road 21 in Minden. Please visit our website at www.haliburtonpaddleshop.com. Social media, all under Haliburton Paddle Shop. And of course, email info@haliburtonpaddleshop.com.
And the best part about everything, Tim and Pamela, is we're just getting started. So come out, reach out to us, stop by the shop, and let's talk paddles.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Pamela. Appreciate your time.
Anytime. I'm a paddle junkie. We're all good with that.
Right on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time, and we'll do our standard outro and off to the races. Here's hoping some more people do some walk-bys and stick their noses into your shop.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much to Corey and Maria from Haliburton Paddle Shop. Please do check them out if you would love your own personal custom paddle, which now it sounds very enticing. Then please do check them out, and please do check us out. We're on all the social media. Anytime you want to talk to us, you can always email us at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And shout out to Belleville for the fan mail that we got this week. It was so wonderful. Thank you so much. That really makes our day. And if anybody else wants to make our day, we'd be happy to hear from you too. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.